When we think about sparking kids' love of reading, we think about faraway places, impossible stories, and wild imaginations. Well, here to share a different perspective and some tips to help get students excited about nonfiction is Ashley Kinker, a teacher at the Village of Barboursville Elementary, along with Dr. Ashley Stevens from Cabell County Schools. Great to see you all today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so talk about this, and we're talking about text. We're not talking about phone texting. We're talking about written word in textbooks or fiction books, but right now we're talking about nonfiction. Maybe give us some examples of ones that might be interesting for kids and families.
I think the most common type of nonfiction that kids see is nonfiction magazines. Anything that they see out when they're traveling or out in the community, whether it be advertisements or magazines. And then their social studies and science curriculum, of course, is nonfiction, so they're exposed to that, and biographies.
Oh, yeah. Well, what sparked your interest in nonfiction?
I noticed a pretty large deficit in our scores with regards to nonfiction, with comprehension and vocabulary, and so I just really wanted to dive deeper into that and figure out how can we get kids more engaged and more excited about nonfiction.
And why, as a teacher, because you teach little ones, second graders, why do you think it is so important, in addition to test scores, to get kids interested in nonfiction?
I think just building that background knowledge for them when they get into middle school and high school and they take content-specific classes. If they have exposure to nonfiction text, then it helps to build their background knowledge. They can make connections.
Right.
And
yeah, it might even get them interested in some topics that they might want to pursue later on.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Dr. Stevens, for families? What can families do to encourage kids to look for nonfiction?
Like with everything, kids can't emulate what they don't see. So if you're not reading a newspaper or a magazine, or you're not excited to talk about who you just learned about in a biography, you're missing an opportunity to kind of spark those conversations. So the more that you prioritize reading in front of them, it feels hard because we're always running them everywhere.
Right.
So to take a moment to have some like selfish personal reading, let me give you some license for that, because it's good for them to get to see it. So when they see you reading and you get to talk about, you know, the things that you're learning and why you like it, that starts the conversation.
Yeah, and we're looking on the screen right now showing lots of different benefits of reading nonfiction. A lot of things we may not even be thinking of. Yeah. So what do schools provide to help students access more nonfiction type of literature? What have you noticed at your school?
So all students have access to the Clever portal, and they have all kinds of online resources that they can get on and listen to books if they struggle with reading, read independently, take quizzes. A lot of times there's interactive videos that they can watch, and it's self-selected, so they can choose topics that they're interested in and just kind of build that interest and engagement.
Yeah.
So.
And I bet if they ask their librarian or their teacher for help, because maybe they're interested in rocks or they're interested in snakes, they're going to help them find the cool books.
Yeah.
About
and we, at our school, we incentivize reading, of course, and so they earn points for comprehension tests that they take, so they can choose nonfiction, and in my class I incentivize further if they do choose nonfiction. So
yeah, it's a good way, I think. Maybe kids who maybe they haven't really gotten into reading, if you find something that they like, it could even be about a biography on an athlete, that might really get them into reading.
Absolutely. The research shows us that, you know, kids have a reading level, but when they're reading about things that they're interested in, they demonstrate a higher reading level. So sometimes it's really about just hooking the interest, you know, that they already have and using that to get them excited about reading.
Exactly. Are there any extra resources that you like to recommend?
Absolutely. So the Cabell County Library has a database. So if you have a library card, you're welcome to access those magazines. I think you guys had that up a little while ago. So families can check that out.
Oh, yeah.
And we have also put all of the notes from this segment on our website at cabellschools.com. When you get there, you look for families and Family Academy, and you can scroll down and find all of this information too.
Wonderful. Well, Ashley Kinker and Dr. Stevens, thanks so much for stopping by and sharing all this with us. And maybe it'll encourage more of the kids to get into reading nonfiction.
Thank you so much.
All right.